A very good afternoon, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to session 3. Our session will be on Digital ASEAN, Digitalization and Transformation. So if I'm not wrong, we have about 75 minutes, 1 hour and 15 minutes. I will try my best as a moderator to be down to the last second. So we have until around 3:25. It's very challenging. We have around 8 panelists, 2 of which will be joining online. But it's a great honor and privilege to be the moderator, so I'll do my best. We have many distinguished panelists from the public sector, private sector, academia. So my role today will be to talk as little as possible and let our panelists share their expertise, their experience, and so on. So now that I've just kind of set the flow for today's session, I would just like to start with a little bit of the background. Because originally, KSI invited me as a guest speaker, so I was supposed to share a little bit about Cambodia's digital economy, and then eventually I was, let's say, chosen to moderate, so I'll just give a quick, let's say, landscape of Cambodia's current digital economy. So as we've seen, Cambodia's GDP or economic development over the last 20 years has been quite rapid. Pre-COVID was more than 7% annually for the past 20 years. We have a very young population. More than 2/3 of the population is under the age of 30, with a median age of around 26. So those factors, coupled with high internet usage, smartphone penetration, affordable mobile data, makes us a very digital country, or a country with a very high digital adoption rate. So just to wrap all of that up, I think about 5 years ago, I was still using cash, more or less. You know, when I get a tuk-tuk or a car and I have to negotiate with the driver and so on. But I was always thinking, you know, how long would it be before Cambodia becomes, let's say, cashless, or until we become very digital? At the time, 5 years ago, I thought maybe 20 or 30 years. But I'm proud to say that now, as a citizen here in Cambodia, as a consumer of technology, we see that you know, digital has really come a long way. You see QR codes even in the market when you buy some vegetables and fruits and snacks, and even at the store. So all of that's just to say that here, Cambodia, in a young and rapidly developing country, we hope to learn from all the experts from the region, also some of our local pioneers in their respective sectors. So please allow me to just get straight into it with our panel today. I'll be following the order of the list of speakers. So thank you for our MC, who's already introduced the topic, as well as the, let's say, the guiding questions. So our panel will be quite simple. I will just hand the floor over to each of our speakers, and they will share their experience and their expertise really from their own perspective and interpretation. So our first speaker, Mr. Georg, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Always refreshing is your new tagline, as we heard earlier. And I hope we can make this session as refreshing as possible. We only have like 3 or 4 minutes each to talk briefly about what digitalization in the ASEAN markets really mean for us. My focus is very much the small and medium-sized enterprises and how to help them be more successful. So I ran the largest portal for properties in these markets called iProperty out of Malaysia, car portal, iCar Asia, which got sold to Qasim, and now I'm running the largest real estate group, but also largest PropTech group in the Southeast Asian market, because we leapfrogged literally the development there. So from an SME perspective, and you will hear all about the larger type of companies, what is really, really important? And if you want to start an SME business, where do you go? Now, I come from Europe, therefore I think I'm allowed to say Europe wouldn't be a place to start, apart from obviously the food, which is quite nice. The food here is better, I think. And also the economic growth and the optimism is much, much higher in the markets here. US would be another market to think about, but then US has far less people which have access to digital technology than the ASEAN market. So therefore, another reason why to go for the ASEAN markets. India is a bit overpriced already in this field of fast-growing companies. China is marginally unpredictable, or maybe quite unpredictable in terms of where the government is heading. Australia is too small, so there's not much left. Latin America is maybe governmental, also fairly unstable. So therefore, ASEAN is the place to be. So how do you create a business in the digital space which is successful in the ASEAN market? The same as you create any business, you focus on the problem. You don't start with the technology, you focus with the problem. So you don't try desperately to find a solution for certain technology, but you say, what is the problem which we have to solve? For example, access to housing, or perfect information for the car market, or HR systems for small and medium-sized companies from 10 people and more. And in order to be successful, what do you really need from the governments, and why ASEAN is perfect for that? You need a large base, a large population. You need a young population, tick, given. You need a high degree of digital population, tick, given. More people with digital access and mobile access in ASEAN than in the US and in Europe and everywhere. Then the next thing is a government which supports digital, which allows you to do certain things in a digital way, again, given. Then you need a strong GDP growth, again, given, and you need a technology infrastructure, meaning high bandwidth. And if I compare the bandwidth here to where my kids are in Berlin and in Canberra, it's much faster here. And they wouldn't even believe it, but it's faster. And then a tech system which is simple, again, given. I'm originally from Germany. Half of the books in the world on techs are in German, which means the German tech system is the hardest in the world. Here in Malaysia or in Cambodia, it's fairly straightforward. And most importantly, and then I hand over to my colleague, you need the right spirit, the right enthusiasm, the right attitude towards entrepreneurship. And I do believe here, again, is a culture where you can do this, where people don't start with all the things which can go wrong, but focus first on the things which can go right. Thank you.
Yeah, now it's my turn. Thanks for all the organization, and especially for KSI and AVI, that I'm Sovann, and all the command friend call me Sovann, because I'm from Huawei, Cambodia, the representative of Huawei. I would like to say that welcome to Cambodia. For our side, because our session is for the digital and the transformation in all the Asian area, we believe in that currently, even today, we are sitting here. There are around more than 125,000 people every day connected to the internet. We can say that in our Asian area that 2025, we can say that it will be the top 5 digital economic bloc. So that the digital transformation in this area grew quite fast. From our report, and also that from third-party GSMA report, that we can say all this and the Asian area, the DOU, that means the area and the user consume data, is the top in the region. Let's go back to our Cambodia. Our Cambodia today, every user that every month, they will consume more than 20 giga, and all of the traffic. This is actually the hub in Cambodia. So that for the digital transformation, we hope that there are several points that we should pay attention that. The firstly is that digital infrastructure. Because the digital infrastructure is a foundation of all the digital in the world, especially the connectivities. And for both mobile network and fixed network, we call it fiber network or fixed network. There is a saying that because during the past 20 years, China and the digital economic and grew quite fast. All of them sometimes are saying that they should thanks to all the operators and all the partners who built up the very good network. So this one, we would like to highlight that. And we hopefully that in all the Asian and our Cambodia side or other friend nation, the connectivity is the top one important. The second one, we would like to say that is about the platform and the ecosystem. Those years, the cloud, the AI, and is a hot topic, and for all of us in different sectors. Meanwhile, we can say that, especially for the startup, that in all the Asian and area that the Huawei in this area, including 29 and countries and market areas, that last year we support more than 10,000 startups with our Huawei cloud in this region. we can say that during we make this effort around 3 to 4 years. Now, some of them already go up and to be the top 1 or the top 10 in their sectors. We come back to our Cambodia that we can say now, and Huawei and cloud already support more than 200 startups. And we can say some of them already the top 1. I have one friend that they operate an airline company. All of their operation systems are running on the cloud, in Huawei cloud. The third one, we would like to say that on top of the digital infrastructure and then the ecosystem and the platform, then the young talent. Especially, we believe in that all the nations make it greater is in the classroom, especially that in all of the with the effort of all the professors, like I have a friend and from the AOI, they share me that they have more than 30 to 40 professors. So those one, actually Huawei are collaboration with different partners now. Every year that we train, or we can say the knowledge transformation for more than 1,000 ICT and young talent. Just last week, we sent around 10 and young talent students to different countries, including Bangkok and Singapore, to training for our City for the Future. They come back and they share me with one very and good achievement that they not only to know the ICT, like 5G cloud technology, but they know 120 and classmates together from all the 10 Asian countries. We think that those and City for the Future, they will come to the tree for our Cambodia. The last one, I would like to highlight that we need to still have some challenge. We need to pay attention. Here, we also represent of Huawei Cambodia. We also would like to call for the attention and effort for that. Because there are still and some of our friends of our nations that are not connected to the digital world. We said digital transformation. Meanwhile, if not still and connected, cannot. Especially in the rural area, in the remote area, especially that for all the schools, for the students who need more support from us. That's why we work together with our partners together, like Onia Gaming and his partners. We work together to bring the network to the rural area, for make them to be one part of our digital world. We can say that lower and no one can be left. So this is my last call for the effort for that. Thanks all, and wish you enjoy a nice journey in Cambodia. Thank you.
I'm timing myself, 3 minutes. Okay, my name is Kok-Chin. People will call me KC. I'm the chairman of the Smart Cities Network. I'm also an adjunct professor for the National University of Management in Phnom Penh. I teach smart cities. So the question that I will address is 2 questions. First, what are the new challenges of digitalization and transformation? Secondly, what are the opportunities? I start with digitalization. What is digitalization? I think for ASEAN to be digitalized, we all know since the internet was commercialized from the mid-90s, the digitalization has taken place over the last 20 years. Internet connectivity is now pervasive and the world is now connected. So it's not a new challenge. What is challenging is the transformation. And what is the transformation are we talking about? It is a transformation that changed the status quo from digitalization to a new economy, and we talk about the 21st century skills. So what does it take to go digital to transformation? And my short answer is simple. Smart cities. As an educator, I like to keep it simple. It is A, B, and C. And I'm quite sure we start from young what is A, what is B, and what is C. It means something. First, what is a smart city? Or some countries and some cities will call it the smart economy. It is not the same as a digital economy. So the A is awareness. What do you understand about a smart economy? I was managing the IBM Global Alliances 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, 2010. Until 2013, they ran a program of 100 cities around the world called Smarter Cities Challenge. In 2012, I managed the Singapore project together with Singapore government agencies. In 2014, the Singapore government launched Smart Nation. And that was 8 years ago. 2018, when Singapore was chair, we launched the ASEAN Smart Cities Network. There are 26 cities in which Phnom Penh is one of them. So I support the Phnom Penh city government in their journey to become a smart city. So what is smart? First, a smart city must have data. You have to capture data. And that is through what we call Internet of Things. Without data, as a new oil, you can't do anything smart. That's number one. Number two, you must have intelligence. And that's what people call artificial intelligence. You process the data, good data. So that understanding is just the basic. You know about it, and you've been here means that you understand what is smart. Second, I think it is absolutely necessary to train the young leaders to learn about what is a smart economy. And that's why we signed the MOU with NUM today, is to make sure they are given the opportunity to know what is smart. And thirdly, to round up what I'm saying is B is building capabilities. And the last part is C, commitment. You need commitment from the political leaders to say that you are interested to really embark on a smart journey, giving opportunities to students to really be part of that. And that's also must be translated into budgets allocated. You've got to allocate budget. And now, as part of our MOU with UN Habitat globally, we are identifying projects which are bankable. And that's where I think the private sector will be interested. Bankable projects for smart cities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So thanks first of all to KSI, Tansri, Michael for inviting me, AVI, and also ASEAN Business Council. So I will try to be brief and concise. I think that many of the participants have digest a lot of information. So my talk will be divided in 3 parts. The first, I will share with you how the 4th industrial revolutions is different from the previous industrial revolution. Then I will give some examples of impacts on society and business, positive but also limitations. And lastly, I will share with you how ASEAN digital integration and some few key recommendations. So let me start with a quote from one of the best New York Times bestsellers, who said that within the next decade, we'll experience more than 100 years of progress. Means that these 4th industrial revolutions has an exponential trajectory compared to others with just a linear path. First, different. Second, this is the only industrial revolutions who connect biological, physical, but also digital spheres. And lastly, it's impacted all industries across all sectors compared to other industrial revolutions. So, as an example, in Cambodia, positive impact with the Bakong project, it's really a powerful tool for economic inclusions. Then in other sectors, like health, we have now some drones who deliver drugs in remote areas, but also in educations with all the online educations in urban villages. So those are positive impacts, but also in the way that consumers purchase online. If I want to give you an example, in Philippines and Malaysia, we have the highest growth rates in online purchases. But of course, who say strengths have also limitations. Let me give you 3 of them. First, now a lot of people are connected to sensors and devices through internet. So cyber threats and also data policies, first limitation. Second, we have also, of course, the growth of digital divide and also digital literacy. And lastly, we have also disruptions in all the workplace, because a lot of machine AI replace human and workforce. So those are some limitations. So how we can integrate and give to ASEAN a digital cohesion. So first, I think we need to really provide a supportive ecosystem. It's mainly an equation with digital infrastructures, innovation, technological innovations, and talent. That could be an example of supportive ecosystem. Second, we need also to invest from different financial investment from different stakeholders, but also investment in human capital. And last, I think that cooperation and collaboration, there is this example with the Asia Foundations and a private sector, Google Philanthropy, who create the program Go Digital ASEAN, which really show that collaboration and cooperation. So let me end with these final conclusions, that digitalization shall be an uplift for human life and equal playground. And I do believe that the 5th industrial revolution must encompass the notion of harmonious human-machine collaboration. Thank you.
So, yeah, thank you. So I will start my speak, 4-minute speak, starting from the transformation, digital transformation journey of the bank and the driving force to digitalization of the bank. But I need to go back to the past a little bit. You know, in Cambodia, when we start a bank 22 years ago, all banks operate offline, whereby the fiber cable optic available one line crossing from the eastern part, Cambodia border, but Vietnam to Thailand. At that time, when we saw that, why the question, why only one line? Why no other bank use it? And Asia Bank at that time, we decided to use it. With the paid up capital 4 million, we used 2 million to invest in the line, so that we can use the available of the fiber cable optic along the line. We have 13 provinces, but 8 provinces along the fiber optic line. And then the question, because for us, when there is a challenge, there is always opportunity. So we saw that that's a great opportunity. So invest in the satellite, the dish. We purchased the dish so that it covers all 13 provinces. So the challenge, and then we found that it's a great opportunity because no other bank use that line. So we invest in that. And then online bank the first bank provide online banking services. The customer have a lot of questions. How come I place the deposit at one branch and I can withdraw on the other branch, and you know about me? I said, yes, because it's a line. And the other bank, they use the fax machine to send the specimen. So this is one example. The second example, after the line in place, and then the customer, we start from I talk about the driving force. The customer said that now you have certain branch, I can only withdraw within certain branch. The customer want more, and then we decide to fill the ATM machine across the start with certain location. And then the customer again. So the force from the customer encourage us to do more. So we decide to add more ATM machine nationwide. And the question from the customer again, you have ATM nationwide, but it's far away from my home. And then later on we think the force encourage us to do more. So to do more is to look into we call mobile phone bank at that time. We introduced in 2010, July 2010. But then it's not based on the smartphone, based on the analog. And then the customer said, now you don't have the modern technology in place. But to us, what is available, we accept, because we know that the development of the technology, we don't need to rely on the 5-star technology at that time. What is available at that time, we invest. So when we continue to invest, and then gradually the technology, latest one available in the market, and then we start to transform into that. So 3 years later, from 2010, 2013, the smartphone available, so we start to upgrade, to develop based on the smartphone. So, and then the smartphone available and launched in 2017, it's called like HDR mobile application, whereby the customer can open account without traveling to the branch and offices, and also can do transaction where they want to do, whenever they want to do, whenever they want to do business transaction, personal transaction, without even coming to the bank and branch offices. So again, so the driving force is from the customer. When I say the customer, it's not just the private sector and also the public sector, because we offer them tax collecting services. So we talk with the public sector. What can we do more so that we can support? And then we work with our customer to have the system in place so that we can provide the services because when we service the public sector, also it benefits to the private sector because they can pay tax conveniently without spend more time at our counter. For your information, at the counter service now, we only serve like 4%, and 96% use the mobile application. So the force, when I say the driving force, the customer pushes us to do that. And at the institutional level, but I can see that in the ecosystem, it's not the banking sector alone. So the banking sector, the tourism sector, the food industry, the transportation. So we need to work together to set up the ecosystem so that Digitalize can work within those contexts. And then move, the next step is to connect with ASEAN. So 2020, we start because the customer of the two countries, Thailand and Cambodia, said now traveling to different countries like Thai and Cambodia, we need to exchange from our currency to Thai baht so that we can make payment. But later on, we give the solution that it's cross-border payment. It worked very well, but because it meant a lot for the tourism. No? And then the pandemic come in 2020, so it slowed down a little bit. Recently, we are working with other two countries, Vietnam and Laos. So when I say we, it's demand from both the central bank of the relevant country. You know? So those are the experience of digitalized transformation experience of the bank. So start with the customer who want that, the force encourage us to do that, and use whatever available technology at the time to develop, and then gradually move to the latest one when it is available. So that is my journey of digitalized transformation of the bank. So thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I will start off by asking a very somber question to the crowd, to the audience. Like, what do Elon Musk, Jack Ma, and Bill Gates have in common amongst the three of them? Any guess as far as AI is concerned? Anybody willing to give a shout? Yes, they are in technology. Yes, they adopt AI. They deploy AI in all their platforms. But one thing that really binds them together, right, is that they say AI is destructive. AI is dangerous. AI breaches humankind, ethics, standard, safety. Now, that's a very, very, eye-opening and headline thought-provoking statement, isn't it? Coming from technologies themselves. But why do they say that? What did they see when they pursue AI implementation in their own platforms that they regard as dangerous at some point in time. So that's the first thing to think about when we go through this topic. But I like the fact that Mr. maybe Robindra talks about AI for positive impact. I'm here to blend and balance the danger of AI with the positive impact of AI. How do we do that, right? So in this case, right, at the Center for AI Innovation that operates in more than 20 other countries that we manage, we do one thing. We are looking at converting 99% of people without AI or machine learning knowledge, without coding, without programming, without Python, without TensorFlow, without R knowledge programming, to convert this 99% into an AI practitioner and adopter. It's like saying in the 90s, right? In the 80s, there's WordPerfect, right? In 1990s, Microsoft Office started to open up, right? Microsoft Word, right? So people spend a lot of time training you up to use Microsoft Word, Excel, Access. So Cambodia is at a very, very interesting phase. The last 3 years that I've been observing the technological development itself in the country reveals one thing, that they're hungry for knowledge. They're hungry for capacity building. But the common consensus is Cambodia is not ready, quote unquote. Cambodia is not ready for AI. So the question that we need to ask ourselves as I go through the policymakers, the think tank, and all the experts, I ask them one thing. Does Cambodia want to create more programmers, more coders, more technical people, the 1% that I talked about? Or does Cambodia want to develop more design thinkers or problem solvers that use existing AI? Because you are behind the curve, right? Generally, AI only start to take place in Asia in the last 5 years. So do we want to learn how to do coding, or do we want to learn how to solve problems using existing platform? That's what you call the Use AI platform. So as part of this, the CEDF, the Cambodia Economic Development Fund initiative, that Tan Sri Michael Yeo from KSI and us have supported together with our local partner, AZ Group. What we have done is to give opportunities for AI inclusivity. Nobody should be left behind in the learning, application, and knowledge of AI. To who? To 3 groups of students, to 3 groups of trainees. Right, just 30 seconds more. Number 1 is a healthcare sector. Clinics, hospitals, doctors must know how to use the tools to think ahead of patient care. Number 2 is teachers and educators that look at how to build personalized education learning roadmaps for students. And third, for 10,000 over micro businesses and SMEs to learn how to do valuation, business plan, how to do fundraise, how to apply for bank loans, amongst others. So this is what the CEDF fund that we were talking about earlier was designed, to uplift the capability of Cambodians to be equipped with the skills first before they start to use AI, just like the way we learned Microsoft Word in the 1990s. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please don't be fooled by our only male panelists on the stage. We actually have 2 more female panelists who unfortunately couldn't make it. So they'll be joining us online. So now I'll invite Ms. Tuan to have the floor. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. And my name is Kimi from Yellow Blocks. So I'm the founder and CEO of Yellow Blocks Vietnam and Dubai Create 42. We are the first consulting firm in Vietnam, specializing in frontier technology and digital transformation consultancy for high-level government agencies and also enterprises. And it's my honor today to present and also like to share the experience with like the fellow experts from digital transformation across the ASEAN market. And across all the sharing of the panelists, I can see that we share a lot of background in commons. And I think that from my observation, being a global citizen, but supporting the government, the local government in developing the digital economy strategies, over and over again, we see for the last 5 years, I want to quote what is the opening quote for the digital economy C by the annual report by Google and Temasek. So this year in 2022 report, the opening lines is that for 589 million people in Southeast Asia, a decade of new possibilities has dawned. The region's digital economy is moving from resilience to resurgence and paving the path for roaring future. And the internet economy is projected to reach to 1 trillion GDP by 2030. So you can see that like the broad possibilities and also the potential of this are huge. And digital transformation is not something new, but what the consistent topic that we have discussed for the last 5 and 10 years, especially in Vietnam. So for me personally, my expertise, my domain expertise is actually in frontier technology. What we call, I'm also the founder of ABCD Tech, which is representing AI, blockchain, cloud, and data. Have been working consistently as the bridge and the link between the government and the enterprises and also the startups in this field. I'm on the advisory board for the Ministry of Science and Technology of Vietnam and also Ministry of Planning and Investment. And we have what we call a digital strategy blueprint for the whole national economy, published in 2020, but it has been drafting since 2017. And in that, like in the digital strategy, the digital economy, we have acknowledged that digital transformation and also the digital economy is the economic strategic growth, the only way for us to push forward as the key pillar for social economic growth for the whole society, and especially with our young population. And I think like this observation is consistent across all the ASEAN country. And I'm happy to share later on like any Q&A from the floor in terms of like the Vietnam overview. But consistently what I have seen from the sharing from previous panels, I think that we share the same challenge and also opportunities. I want to add some more like perspective since I come from originally I come more like from the consumer base and marketing and communication. So I think that like the challenge from the user's point of view is that like we saw a lot of initiative from the government and a lot of macro initiative of platform. But the challenge is that there is alarming rate of 70% of digital transformation projects failed along the way. And failed, it means that it's not being continued for the second year. So basically, what it means is that like we take a lot of effort and to kickstart something, but how to put that as a consistent yet incremental and gradual change over the years, and to have that kind of like actual result and evaluation, close loop feedback evaluation and continuous improvement. I think that is how to collaborate and how to interconnect all the resources to make that efficient is one of the challenge. The second one is in terms of like the sustainability consideration in organizing these digital transformation thing, and considering the consumer or the end user as the core of this economy. At the end of the day, how can we unleash more services? How we can, it's not like more services, but like more options, and there's like more frequencies of the usage of these services is like core. And from the user's point of view, I think like having that kind of seamless experience is very crucial. And the fact that most of the ASEAN country, we are still having a cash economy, and cash on delivery has been consistently like the main major method of payment. I think that we still have a lot of room to improve that. And the third one is in terms of the education. We have a lot of educations for the next generation, but on top of this infrastructure change, I think that is also a behavior change, and how we can have like not only the bottom up education for the users, but also like the top down, making digital transformation as the compulsory curriculum, and also like the skills needed for this development is very key to the economic growth. Yeah, so happy to share that on the next panel discussion.
Hi, A very warm greeting from Myanmar and from Yangon. Minglaba is a way of greeting from Myanmar. I'm very grateful to be connected to all participants here and all my fellow expert panelists. I think I am basically coming from very much the banking and financial institutions background. So with the our banks, EA Bank is and the EA Financial as EA Bank is part of the EA Financial groups, and the EA Bank being a second largest bank, and we have gone through a lot of a number of digital the transformations phases and eras of throughout the the countries, and progressing of the, and also witnessing Myanmar being transforming into the digitizations and its environment, and with the ASEAN, of course. So I just would like to share let me just time myself. Yeah, okay. So I just would like to share through how we actually Myanmar has begun for digital transformations and the journey, and amid all the limitations and challenges, and as well as for likewise for the bank, how we actually play a key, and we driving change and connecting the for the people, public and private sectors for the in the digital transformations journey. So in Myanmar, if you look at that, I think I would like to recall a little bit of what Dr. Channing has mentioned, like Cambodia, like a few years back, and Myanmar also have last time we do not have like a about 5 to 10% mobile penetrations, and we mobile followers like the very scarce resources, and for the luxury kind of goods to for Myanmar a few years back, like I would say for more than 10 years back. And then from there, Myanmar, where we actually started to think of the transforming from the from the telecom sectors, from the mobile penetration has in 4 years back, it has reached to like 4 or 5 years back, reached to 100 over 100%, everyone holding 1 or 2 SIM cards, and 2 or mobiles, and many of our countries, all the citizens, we all hold we are witnessing holding the smartphone. So more than 80% is the smartphone users within the country now, out of 105 this SIM cards penetration. So with the leveraging with that penetrations, and the seeing the journeys of these transformations, for us, the bank as the banking industry also has been transformed in a way that we are very much looking into this, leveraging this, connecting the from the telecom, and the Internet of Things, and we have seen ourselves as a how we can actually leverage for the to transform the digitally for the bank. So we started from at the same time, we are the first banks who actually doing a fully core banking system being installed from all the way to the manual. But I think for the country like us, and the the least developing country, and we actually had a core banking system 4 years back, and from there that I myself actually, we are at the bank, we are very much focusing on to the transforming of this, providing the digital solution to corporates and in the SME for the more seamless and payment and the settlement for the and while we connecting all these private sectors with the public sector. So like again, like what Mr. Channing has said, we have developed a lot of quite a number of initiatives and the project with the to the public sectors, which is connecting from the private sector payment, from the licensing all the way to payment and settlement and paying dues and the taxes, and what we have to through for the corporate customers, corporate who will be able to do online. And we are actually with that, we have seen a lot of challenges, of course, and basically in Myanmar, out of this 54 million or 51 plus or 54 billion populations, we have people are very much used to use with the mobile phone and on all the with the smart mobile phone, I would say. So with that, we are now going to the eras of giving and using the mobile phone seamlessly for all the banking transactions, even for the the payment, or be it from the domestic settlement all the way to the cross-border settlements. So we are also the bank that who actually has the first cross-border the automated payment settlement with the Singapore as well through the API connections, and we are now currently going into the future the all phases that what ASEAN has been leading for the cross-border settlement and payment. And with that, I think what we all see from the challenges here, we need a lot of focus, and also the we ourselves and people as as a bank, and for me even for ourselves, being connecting a person who is driving change and change agent, which is very important for the implementations and successfully transformation of the digitizations, because I think the people here, and I believe the country like us, we have the mindset, very conservative mindsets, and like what my fellow the panelists has mentioned just now, Dawn has mentioned, we are very much cash based society here. And while we think about transforming, we have to think from not just the banking services, it's a beyond banking. Yeah, beyond banking, and giving needs-based solutions like and financial inclusions, because we may not have in Myanmar, not all the areas are covered by the bankable area or bankable banking assets. So with that, with the bank, and also we've been creating introducing all the payment system, bringing in, which lately from this within 1 or 2 year pandemic has with the pandemic has also driven, and actually people might see pandemic as a challenge, but for me is for the digital transformation and digitizations within the country is kind of like a positive, or like adding value to driving the people to or forcing the people to use the digital payment and digital using for more digital means. So which we actually I would say that the within the Myanmar, it has we have benefited from this digitization drive, even from government sectors, from the public sectors. We have a lot of quite a number of from the custom system, even to the from the trade system to settlement. We have a connection of the boosting these digitizations through means for seamlessly. So I believe that Myanmar, I think even though we have quite a number of challenges and limitations, our digitization journeys has never been a pause, and we have never slept or never been out of our it has always been our main key agenda for as a country as a whole. And also I think for our bank as well, our digitization journey has never been paused. We have been progressing, and we believe that we will be able to work with in future as well with for the ASEAN for cross-border trade trade settlements, or even for all kind of payment and settlement. So yeah, I'm happy to share with all the panelists and the participants for if you have any more questions or anything relating to Myanmar, and of course with the banking sectors here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jasmine. Thank you to all of our distinguished panelists. So time flies when you have 8 panelists. Now we've reached the final 30 minutes. So I think just to be a little bit more efficient, and maybe we can change the speed, I'd like to leave the floor open for some questions. So we've covered many different aspects, starting from Mr. Georg. I'm glad that you started first. You mentioned that technology is not some magical solution to everything, but we should look at the problem first. And then we talked about network infrastructure, the importance of data, technology for good, 2 very practical use case stories of digital transformation of banks in both Cambodia and Myanmar, how we can use AI as an extension of our current technology, and also the different ways of collaboration. So I think now in the final stage of our panel discussion, if any of the audience would like to ask any questions, you may introduce yourself, address to any individual panelists here, or you can leave it open to all the panelists. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Matthew Rendell from Soxapano Associates. I'm in the law game and I'm also not young, so I understand almost nothing regarding technology. One thing that's always intrigued me, though, is, as in Chenny was speaking about before, as the progress of this technology over the last 20 years. And I noticed now, I think the one thing that we're still kind of stuck on a little bit is when you get a telephoner and you get a telephone number, and the inability to switch users because of having a dedicated number, and the SIM card. I was just wondering, that technology, the SIM card, for example, is that pretty much now a thing of the past, or is it still going to be a case of you need this little piece of plastic, and if your phone goes down, you've got to get a different one from a different service provider? If I go to Thailand, I've got to buy a SIM card, to get another number. How far, how close are we to the idea of, or even that sort of physical hardware being a thing of the past, and this thing will be used for everything, but we don't need to add any add-ons. Wherever I go in the world, it's the same usage, etc., etc. How close are we to, I suppose, put it simply, SIM cards are a thing of the past already, or thereabouts, or this sort of thing, and this idea of different telephone numbers for different places.
Great. Floor is open. Any panelists, please?
So thank you, Matt. You see, in Cambodia, you don't need to use a card anymore, not just a phone. You have access to all payment. So no card, no like a Visa card, MasterCard. So you make payment, you can make, buy food, transportation, or everything, include cash withdrawal from the ATM machine. No need to use card. In some member of ASEAN country, whereby the cross-border payment available, like in Thailand, for example, you can also use the phone from Cambodia to make payment. Include when you buy, you top up your phone. You can do from that also. Except on the Thai side, they haven't launched to Cambodian side yet. So which is the original plan that they plan to do before the end of this year. And then, like I said, we plan the idea to expand, to connect all 10 countries. So we start with Thailand, and next it will be Laos and Vietnam, and then look forward to expand to the other. But as a private institution, we cannot move by ourselves. The regulator move first. I mean, the central bank of the like party to the agreement need to move. Like Thai and Cambodia, the two central banks make decision. And we private bank followed after they make decision. Vietnam and Cambodia also made decision already. So they select bank like ASEAN Bank. So we move after the regulator make decision. So shortly to your question that phone, only mobile phone can make payment. It's solution already. We don't need to use a plastic card like ATM, like Visa, Master, or any other card anymore. I'm talking about in Cambodia market, but in other 10 ASEAN member countries, except when we introduce the cross-border payment. When the cross-border payment work, and then transaction will be done similar to what we have done in Cambodia. So I don't know if I respond directly to your question. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chan.
Sorry, I think you're referring to the seamless card phenomenon, right? So I think as early as 2015 in Barcelona, where they've started introducing a phone without having a SIM card, and of course prior to that will be all the VoIPs, voice over internet protocols, and then we have the likes of internet-based mechanisms that allow us to communicate amongst devices. Now, if you are delving or breaching into the telco world, right, there is the issue of interoperability amongst the network providers that will be much be aware of it. It is eating into their market share, right? This is a very, very cannibalistic business model. So from there, from a competitive standpoint, there are two aspects. One are the startups and the newcomers that are able to create a seamless phone, and I'm sure that they are already happening since 2015 out of Barcelona, right? And the other one is within the telco players. So within the telco players, they themselves don't want to be losing out, right? As what they've done or experienced in the SMS space. So it's a very interesting question. It's a very interesting dynamics. The jury is still out in terms of what is the ultimate dominant, who is the ultimate dominant market share player. But from a telco perspectives, they are still struggling with the interoperability of phone numbers, so the portability of numbers, right? So they themselves are killing each other's market share from there. But from a startup point of view, rest assured that the competition will heat up in that space where non-telco players with the relevant licenses will be able to create their own devices. So we are there. It's already happening, in short, and the IoT aspects of it will intensify the competition even more between the telco players for their interoperability competition and this seamless card phone, followed by the startups, with the technology to be able to implement such things and eat up into the market share. So indeed, it is a disruption to the telco world. Indeed, new competition will intensify in that, and certainly banks, insurance, houses, and consumer products will all be jumping into the foray. So it affects the whole ecosystem, and hence, like I said, the jury is still out. It is a new emerging space, quite recent, yet people are still coming out with new innovation in that space. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Nasri, for your response. So now we welcome the next question.
Thank you. I like to restrain myself to talk, but somebody mentioned a point that is very important about AI, dangerous or not. We talk about AI and ethics. When Elon Musk said AI is dangerous, you have to look at his education background. He studied physics, he went to Wharton, and then started a PhD in material science. When you see this qualification, wealth on top of that, he granted himself the right to arrogance, and very peremptory. You cannot say AI is good or bad, and that's the first comment. Number two, I use expert system AI, the ancestor, 30 years ago to detect bone cancer. And we know that it has limitation, but now today, AI, like all technology, is called by sociologists of technology called dual technology. There is no good AI or bad AI. There's only good and bad people. It's like nuclear technology. If you give nuclear technology to me, I use it to save life, curing cancer. If you give nuclear technology to others, they build atomic bomb, drop, and kill civilians. Yeah? So that's very important. So AI is not bad or good. But I recognize that it's very difficult to debate about the ethics of AI, because we know, and all the experts know, that when you write algorithm, you introduce prejudice, a kind of discrimination against race, gender, etc. But this can we call that a kind of active prejudice, or because of the value of the person who wrote that algorithm? So in summary, I think I would recommend the panel, maybe in the future, to gather to discuss about this AI and ethics of AI. And I always ask this question: what is more dangerous, a person, a man or woman, who think like robots or AI, or AI, machine learning, or robots that think like a human? The human dimensions is still very important. And ethics of AI is, I think, is more important than ever. And technology is the slave of people, not the reverse. Digital technology, be so impressed, but it should be our slave, not our master. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I think we have some add-on from Mr. George, so please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think you should have been on our panel. This was excellent. I'd like just to add one bit to it. The problem with AI is, and nobody please be offended, humans haven't really developed much over the last couple of thousand years in terms of their intellect. But the computers have improved, and there comes the point when they actually no longer can be controlled by us, and then they control us. I had like very light experience in this field with chatbots. We introduced chatbots into the market, and if you don't look after these chatbots, they become a bit weird and they start to say very inappropriate things to people or do things in their own way. So history is full of that. But I agree with your overarching comment of saying it's not the tool but the human. It's like steak knives. Steak knives are good, and we just had lunch. You need them to cut meat, but you can also cut people, and that's maybe not as good. The advantage of a steak knife is it doesn't develop, but the computer can develop and can actually get smarter than us while we are static, whether we believe it or not.
It's an interesting conversation and a statement. AI or IoT or any technology is nothing more than an enabler. It enables you to do something. It is not an end by itself, but I think if we want to embark on digitalization or anything, it is what you want to achieve at the end of the day. Like a fire is an enabler for us to do something. You can cook with it, but when it's too big, it's dangerous. So a lot of people made a mistake to think that a smart city is a technology-enabled city. It is not. A smart city must have strategic outcomes that improve the quality of life of the people, have a better economy, and sustainable environment. So we have to always look at technology as an enabler. It helps you to do something. And whether it's good or bad, it depends on human, as you say, right? Or what you want to achieve out of it. So that's my statement as well. By the way, I'm also a physicist.
Hi, I just want to add about ethics and security, etc. I think the first thing is the problem with AI in the first place, from an implementation standpoint, is only the select few who are able to create the algorithms and keep it in a black box. So how do you bring AI from black box into a trustable or explainable AI? So there's this term called trustworthy AI and explainable AI. So it cuts across all sectors, all use cases, right? So in order for AI to be explainable, it has to be accessible to all. It cannot be limited to only technical people who knows how to build the algorithms at the back end. The 95% that I mentioned earlier have to be involved into the creation of the logic without the need for coding and programming. That is the key to solving this problem about black box, about trustworthy AI, about making sure AI is reliable, trustworthy, and explainable. Explainable means that people know what goes into the box. It's just that it becomes a flurry of mind maps. You know, neurons, right? Our brain is like interwired. You know, it's not a straight line. It's like many, many wires wired up. So imagine the people in this room. There's about, 100, 200 people in the room. And assuming that only 10% of you know AI and machine learning, coding and programming, that means that the 90% of you have tremendous knowledge, tremendous human expertise, but do not have coding and programming. So the 90% of you can sit together on a no-code, low-code platform to create in conversational language, right? And build your own AI expert systems without the need for coding and programming. But because 200 of you are involved in the formulation of the logic, 200 of you will know what goes input, process, output, outcome. You will know the whole process. It's just that it gets upgraded with 200 more powerful brains from different expertise, from HR, marketing, finance, investment, and all the different verticals. It gets smarter and smarter. So the world is moving from a black box AI into an explainable, trustworthy AI to solve the very same question that one of the distinguished members of the audience highlighted. That's the way to solve it, not through more regulations, not through more paperwork, not through more 200 pages of code of ethics. No, that is secondary. That's a means to an end. But the real thing is to open it up, open the black box, get inclusivity involved. That means get people with experts get into the conversational statements that build the logic of AI. So that's what I have to say about that, because the world is moving towards that. It's no longer a 10-year-ago situation where only the limited few knows how to build AI. Now, 95% of you in this room can build your own AI solution. That's the important statement that I want to make today. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to add some remark from the Huawei Cambodian side that because the professor and all and our panel and the list and friends discussed about the new technology and actually no matter AI or smart city and also like our friend and quite the Sovann card or the eSIM network, all of those and we are happy to say that it's a technology innovation. And now, and as this morning, and our Santak Prime Minister gave the speech that the world is have a lot of challenge now, especially that the power and energy and supply chain now this year and in the coming maybe 1 to 3 years also one big and challenge. Then and for the technology innovation, we believe that it will enrich our life, especially that all, no matter the public or private sectors, they put effort in the R&D side. For example, for us, for our group, that every year we put around 15% of our revenue into the R&D. And then our net profit only come to 5 to 8%. Why? We want to invest in this one. We can say for business company is for business. Meanwhile, it also contribution for all society. I give one example that in our Phnom Penh, there is a hospital. The name is Royal Phnom Penh Hospital. That we together with our partner that work with them to make the smart PV sonar solution there. And every year that they can generate 500,000 kilowatt and of the energy. And to using our smart and PV panel and solution, especially for our inventor for that part. And when I visit there, visit the hospitals, I see that and the doctor there and all the friends there, they told me that it's thanks to the technology innovation. Meanwhile, we can see that some other example also same, like the people talk about most of the advantage technology. Sometimes we are also, if we looking from the movie or from the experience that there are some and impact, maybe we call it DORA impact. Currently, we are more and encourage the people to understand it, to know it, especially that for the universities, for the professors, we would like to follow all the standard, like all the technology, and we prefer to have the standard to working together, like in our telco industry that we would like to working with the GSMA, with the 3GPP, to have the common understanding and common use of the new technology. So conclusion is that we continue to innovation the technology and also to make more people to understand and manage it for this society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, panelists, for the interactive discussion. So now that we've reached the final 6 minutes of the panel, it's even more challenging to wrap up. So I think we'll do this. Mr. Georg, before the panel, he said that I should ask a very challenging question. So my challenging question to all of the panelists remaining, the 8 panelists, is in one word, what is the most important factor for digital transformation? Because we see that everyone here in the audience, not everyone has an IT background. And many times when we hear the word digital, digitalization, digital transformation, and the many, many buzzwords that come after, they just completely shut off because they say, you know, I'm not the IT guy, go and ask the IT department. So let's make it relatable and relevant that, you know, what is truly important. So let's start with our online panelists. Ms. Dawn, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, interesting question. So I think that if only chosen one word, I think is transform experience. Because
Okay,
like your transformation, yeah.
Transform experience, sorry to cut you off. Ms. Jasmine, please.
I think for me is for the ASEAN as a full context, probably one word is digital identity, common digital identity.
Okay, thank you. Identity. Mr. George, please.
I wanted to say people, but I say coffee. Because in order to have the energy to work through this, you need coffee.
Okay, that's a very good reply. That we would like to say that innovation, yeah, this is the future, and for us. Thank you.
My one word would be commitment. You have to have commitment, whatever you do.
Sorry, but I will cheat a bit. I will say 2 words in one: emotion and motion moving forward.
For me, connectivity.
I'm going to cheat a bit, 3 words: humanization of AI. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. So we have many different words, from commitment to identity, transformation, and even coffee, which is very important for all of us. So with that, I would just like to recap, summarize what we've heard today. So it's a very intimidating field in terms of digital technology. Nowadays, it's become a sort of trend that if you put the word digital in front, it becomes very cool or exciting. But sometimes we forget to make everything relevant, right, and relatable to our fields, because some come from the public sector, private sector, legal, business. So I think just to close, I think what we can all see today is that it takes very concerted efforts, interdisciplinary, not just an IT expert or an IT technical background person. So it really requires, let's say, 3 kinds of people, right? First, we have the technical expert, you know, with a computer science background, computer engineering as a developer, programmer. The second, we need an SME, right, a subject matter expert, because if you're in the field, let's say, of legal specialities or in health and so on, you still need a health expert or a legal expert, and vice versa. And then finally, you need somebody to be kind of the bridge, right, between the development side and the field. So somebody who can communicate, let's say, with the development team, who understands just the surface of the technical background and expertise, and still match that to the business goals, the organizational goals. So I think with that, I would just like to thank all of our distinguished panelists for sharing their expertise today. And even though it was a short time, I hope that it was something beneficial for all of us. So with that, I wish you all a pleasant afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause.